All right, folks, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to start looking into some cheap alternatives to two-stage dust collecting. This one here is a Temu $10, I think it was $11 with the elbow and a couple adapters, couple clamps. $10 for just this part. 5-gallon bucket adapter type deal. Comes with the rubber gasket, some screws. And then this one I found on Amazon. It actually came with a hose kit, which is in the bucket, and some adapters. None of this stuff is standard size, I'll tell you that for sure. None of the adapters fit my shop vacs, so this is going to be a little bit of a process making adapters to fit all this together. I think I'm going to go to the big box store, buy a bunch of PVC pipe, and do some tricks that I've seen on YouTube where you can heat it up and swell it to fit, and or put it on the saw to trim the edges off to see if it'll go into another fitting. Anyways, I'll just buy some, I don't know what they got, 2-inch, 3-inch, whatever I can find, different sizes, and try to see if I can make my own adapters to fit this. What I've already learned trying to cheap out is probably just better off buying a whole kit. Go to the Home Depot, buy their dust stopper or whatever it's called, which I'll probably end up buying one. But I just wanted to see what these $10 units could do. So that one was $10. This one seems to have a little more proper cyclone action than, say, this one. And if you look at the inside of this one, you know, in or out, it doesn't really matter. I don't know. We'll see. I doubt it's going to work very well, but it might be better than, well, it probably will be better than just going straight into a shop vac. This one, you know, the 90 comes off, this little part comes out. So that's kind of what it looks like without the adapters. And then on the back side, it might be a little bit hard to see in the black, but you have your inlet valve that comes in and should cyclone into the bucket, and then the shop vac would be connected to this top part. Anyways, first things first, I'm going to just go ahead and cut this into the bucket. I've already got kind of a light tracing outline where I used another one of my Temu products. This is like a $5 whole circle jig thing, whatever you would call it. Anyways, also in the kit came a pattern. Could have laid that on there and use that, but I also took the opportunity to use my $10 circle scribing jig. You know, it's got a little pinpoint put on the center axis. Got this place where you can, I used a pencil through there. I think it'd been better off to use something more like a scribe, a pick of some sort, and just scratch it into the surface. The pencil, the lead kept breaking. But anyways, it has a faint outline. I'll go back around it with a Sharpie to make it a little easier to see. Drill a hole, stick in a tin snip, cut it. You don't need to see all that, right? It's a hole. That'll go on top, gasket. I might end up RTVing it, some kind of silicone. And then it's got provisions for some holes. It came with some mounting hardware, and we'll get that mounted up. So this would be good for smaller tools, right? For sanders, maybe palm routers, if you have the dust collection system on those items, which eventually I plan on doing. I'm trying to get a lower profile system that will actually end up in my workbench. So I'll have a separate dust collection just for hand tools, and hopefully the 5-gallon bucket with a old shop vac. This is very old. This thing is probably as old as my kids. This old Craftsman. But hopefully those can sit side by side. And the plan would be to have a short hose running from the shop vac. You can see it. So this old shop vac, and it's actually a shop vac brand, but the plan would be to have a very short connection from here to here to minimize any airflow loss, and they could sit side by side inside the workbench. And then I would have this longer hose that's about 12 foot long. Might have to do a wide angle so you can see it all. Get this back it up. All right, and get some tilt out. Okay, and then there you go. So there you see it side by side. I have this longer 12-foot hose on the inlet to the stage 2, and this is loose. I could put some tape around this or something to seal that. That's going to have to get sealed though. And then the hose that goes with the shop vac, I'll just plumb it up into there. And I could actually lift this up a little bit, put an extension on this so it comes directly up and into that. So, and then I can always turn it a little bit so that there's minimal loss. Should work out, I hope. Got to go buy some parts. So, to be continued. Now, I've gone out and I purchased all this PVC. I got 2-inch, 1.5 inch, 1.25 inch, all these adapters. Who knows? I probably got $40+ into this to try to fit a $10. Yeah, I'm really thinking this through. Again, why don't they just sell one full kit to go from this to that? Full kit. Too much to ask? I think not. Okay, this is what I came up with. 1.25 inch pipe, 1.25 inch adapter, which actually the coupler actually fits the 90-degree elbow perfectly with the outside dimension of the coupler fits the inside diameter of the elbow that they provided. So this is also 1.25 inch coupler, and you can see where I had stuck this into the saw to kind of thin this down so it would fit this 1.5 inch coupler, but I got a little bit too small, so I just did the same thing on the other end. It's nice and tight. I started to do purple cleaning, PVC cleaner, but then I checked my glue and it was dried up. So I'll go back and glue some of these joints. Like I can glue here, here, and here and seal this up better. It should work better with it sealed better. So this 1.5 inch 90 into 1.5 inch coupler right here is the joint. So there's a piece of 1.5 inch pipe holding all this together. I'll glue all that up eventually as well. The coupler was just a little bit smaller than the opening for the vacuum, so a couple layers of electrical tape to tighten up that seal, so that's pretty solid. And then over here was one of the couplers that came with the dust separator, and that pretty well fit this hose that came, actually this hose came with the other dust separator that I got off Amazon, but it fits this pretty well. And then this end down here is kind of designed to fit small hand tools that might have dust collection to them. Anyways, I think it'll work better once everything's sealed. I do got to work on this lid because snapping it down to the bucket is just way too hard to get on and off. So I'm going to trim this off and then use a clamp system between this ridge and this ridge to clamp it closed, and then I can just pop the clamps and get it off there easier. So everything's empty right now, and I am going to suck this pile up, and hopefully most of it ends up in that bucket and not in the can. See what this looks like. So this was clean. It was a brown rag, but I dusted it off. So some fine dust did get through to this filter, but much better than if I would have just vacuumed straight. And there is nothing inside here. So that's really good. Now the hard part is removing this. This takes definitely some Gorilla Grip to get this off of here. But I can tell with a clear bucket, semi-clear, opaque, there's the dust level right up to here, which is going to come in handy when I actually need to empty this from time to time. Oh boy. There you have it. Everything in the bucket. So, I mean, for a $10 separator, and then I probably got, let's see, let's call it $4 per coupling. 1, 2, 3 couplings, 4 couplings, that's 12. Another couple bucks worth of PVC pipe. Let's call it $15 worth of this. So I got about $25 into this. This hose came from the other kit, which was a $20 kit. Let's call it $10. So $30. And it works. Did I save much money? Maybe not. I don't think you're going to get all this with any dust collector anyways. That's going to go to the other. So really, this is what I paid for. This cyclone part. And that was $11.98 with the couplers. So, this you're going to need anyways. A second hose you're going to need anyways. Well, some of them come with this. Some of those $40, $50 ones. I think the Harbor Freight one comes with this. But this is nice low profile. It's going to fit into my workbench nicely. And I'm not dissatisfied with it, really. I think it worked pretty well. So I'll show the Amazon one next. It's going to take a little while to configure the ductwork on it, and it's going to go to a completely different. I have another Stanley shop vac that this is going to go to, that the Amazon one's going to go to. I mean, really all I'm concerned with is that it actually collects dust, right? So I'd say that's a win. All right, here is the Amazon 5-gallon topper, where basically it replaces a lid to a 5-gallon bucket completely. It is not airtight, although in a test, I noticed that it suctioned down and sealed itself. I will add some sort of weather stripping eventually. Also, I'll need to glue all these PVC joints. Same with on this one that I did. I'll have to glue that one mostly up. I still want to be able to take it apart from the bucket, and it makes it easier if you got joints that are not completely glued. This one here, I have a 1.5 inch coupling that actually fit perfectly into the Cyclone device, the Amazon Cyclone device. And then 1.5 inch pipe stuck into that, down to 1.25 inch pipe that I had to trim down to fit to the inside diameter of the 1.5 inch. So the 1.25 inch outside diameter was just a little bit bigger than the 1.5 inch inside diameter. That makes sense. And then the inside diameter of the 1.25 inch pipe fit the vacuum, the Stanley Vacuum's intake line perfectly, which is also the same size as my miter saw outlet. So I could literally just pull that off of there and stick it back onto the pipe. But I have this one so I can continue to do the two-stage separating. So without further ado, this bucket's empty. That one I still left with whatever it has in it. And the vacuum is empty. The filter is not completely clean, but I know they're going to get dirty to some extent. And so now all there's left to do is test it, see if it's going to work, and then I'll have two-stage vacuum systems. One that I could roll around. Of course, eventually I'm going to build a rack where this will stack on top of this and roll around. You've seen millions of them on YouTube, and so I'm not inventing anything. But then I can use that to plug this into my miter saw and or just go around with the attachments and vacuum the floor, what have you. All right, let's give it a shot. Good suction. Like I said, see, that was loose fitting when I started, so that's good. This is a little long. I could trim it down once I connect it all. But let's get the test for now. I can see it cycloning inside the bucket. It's working, but maybe not as good as the Temu one. Let's see what it looks like. The first and easiest thing to look at is inside the vacuum bucket. Oh, there's a good little amount in there. Way more dust inside this than what was inside from this vacuum. I don't know if you can, I mean, that's a lot, actually. But, you know, it's more than, or I should say, it's less than the whole pile. And you'll see in here that 99% of all the dust was collected in the bucket. All in all, I think both systems are a win. This Amazon one is actually a little cheaper, but it doesn't work quite as good. But we're talking like a couple dollars less. So actually the hose I bought separately. That was another kit. It was hose and adapters. That hose there and a few adapters were a separate kit. So just this, the lid by itself, the Cyclone lid by itself on Amazon, I believe was about $10. And it's from Woodstock. It's called the W2049 dust separator. So, you know, and it was, I'm pretty sure that was only like $10. The Temu one outperformed it and it was the same money. Yeah, I think really for the money, probably the Temu one is just better. But I'm not totally disappointed with this one. I will still use this around the shop, vacuuming the floor, odds and end type jobs, connecting it to the miter station, what have you. I do have a large dust collector, Harbor Freight one, that I'm going to plumb for stuff like the table saw. And I will have a feed for the Harbor Freight. I think it's a 4-inch system. And, it's their $200 dust collector. Anyways, I'm going to double 2-stage it as well, just to keep the filters lasting longer. But I will also have an outlet on that system to plumb in my miter station. So for 20 bucks, there's 2 dust collectors, small shop like what I run, just hobby stuff. Either one of these will be great. It will save you some filter usage and yeah, keep your vacuums lasting a little longer. And the big reveal. You got the portable 2-stage dust collector. It still needs a little bit of work, but basically I just took some old cabinet doors. So no, I didn't mill up fresh cabinet doors for a shop vacuum cleaner. The Stanley went inside. I took the wheels from the Stanley vacuum and just screwed them to the bottom of the box. I was going to buy casters, but really that works great. So no need to do that. I did give it some framing, but I actually could have just used pocket holes and screwed the plywood directly to the 3 sides. But maybe that gives it a little more strength. I don't know. It looks pretty good. This is the part that you would hook to the miter saw and or the table saw. But I plan on doing something else with the table saw. So it'll be perfect for the miter saw and or general shop vacuuming. I'm going to replace this as well with some 1.5". I just need to go get a couple adapters. I need 2 90s to take the place of this hose, and that'll get rid of all this excess. But that does work. It's been tested. You've seen it vacuum. So same thing. It's just now it's in a nice little storage box. Just used a jigsaw to cut a hole for the bucket. Boom. As you see, I also use holes for the attachments. This is just an old narrow pickup thing, and here's the one that came with this kit. Fits nicely. This is part of the coupling system that I'm going to use to take the 1.5" down to there. And I'll show that once I get those. Hopefully in the next couple days I'll make another run to the store. But got a place in the back to hang the power cord, and actually I can hang this hose because this will still be used for shop or the car cleanup or something like that, where I don't want to use the dust collector. But this actually fits right in there pretty nicely. This up in here. So there you have it. Here's the final configuration with the last couple modifications. So I ended up connecting the 2 with 1.5" pipe. That way it freed up the hose and made actually the run shorter. So it's more direct from the vacuum to the canister. And then this, I got the hose in the back here, and I drilled a hole to the vent or the output of the vac. So I could actually connect the vacuum to the output port and use it as a little blower in the shop actually, instead of using, my Ryobi yard leaf blower. So yeah, that's the completed project. So all in all, what did this cost? That was about 10 bucks. Each one of these fittings is about 3.5 bucks. So 3.5, 7, 2 more, 14, couple pieces of pipe, call it $5, $6. So $20, $30. So it's still much less than, say, I believe the Home Depot dust stopper is more than that. And does it work as good as that? No, but anyways, it was kind of fun just trying it out and building it. And then this is actually the hose off my shop vac, which is still up there. And that's that was a little less money. That has less couplers, but so that was probably about $20 to make this system. And oh, well, that hose didn't come with it, so let's call it $30 again with this hose. So another $30 for that one. That one does work quite well. Excuse me, it does work as well as I've seen other guys doing theirs on TV. So you could, on YouTube, the other YouTubers doing dust collection videos. So the Harbor Freight, what do they call it? What's Harbor Freight? The Bauer Harbor Freight dust stopper, dust collector, dust separator. It would have been that much taller. I wanted something low profile, so that's better. And like I said, all the dust was in the bucket. Nothing was in the can except for a little bit on the filter. All in all, good. I would buy that again, actually. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed the video. And come back and see what else I get into.